Hey friends, welcome to another great show. So if you've noticed that there's been such a massive push for comfort in our lives, we're surrounded by offerings intended to make our lives comfortable and, dare I say, carefree. Now, think of some of the recent ads: new cars focusing on the comfort of the ride, new homes appealing to the comfortable nature of the layout, and, well, fashion designers offering comfortable clothes. Now, make no mistake, comfort is a big selling point, and there are benefits to being comfortable. You can find flow and momentum in the comfort, but it is in the uncomfortable that real growth blossoms. Achieving a greater sense of wellness and excellence takes hard work, intention, habits, and rituals. And yes, being uncomfortable at times, and that's what we're going to talk about this week. Because yes, it's frustrating at times, and yes, you're going to be frustrated, but that's where the gold lies. To truly become great and achieve goals that you have only dreamed of, you must get comfortable being uncomfortable. The greatest generation, if you've ever had the honor of caring for World War II vets, take a moment to talk with them. Really talk with them. They are widely considered the greatest generation for a reason. The people of this generation lived through the Great Depression and either fought in World War II or worked in an industry that contributed to winning the war. Now, they would tell you living comfortably wasn't the goal. They upheld the ideals of getting their hands dirty with sweat on their brows. This is what built character. Embracing the struggle only made them a better human, a better citizen, a better father, and a better leader. They will tell you stories that the real challenges and hardships of life are what pushed them beyond what they thought they could even accomplish. By encountering difficulties and overcoming them, they created a mindset in themselves and a whole generation that no struggle is too great. So that's what we're going to talk about this week, because you may have heard of Friedrich Nietzsche's famous quote, "What doesn't kill us only makes us stronger." But is it true? There is a recent publication from Northwestern University helped answer that very question. So the researchers examined junior scientists applying for the U.S. National Institute of Health, the NIH, R1 grants. They focused on grant proposals that fell just below the funding threshold and proposals that fell just above the funding threshold. They compared near misses in individuals who just missed receiving funding versus the near wins, individuals who just succeeded in getting funded, to determine the long-term career outcomes. They found that despite an early setback, individuals with near misses systematically outperformed those with near wins in the long term, as their publications in the next 10 years amassed substantially higher impact. And further, they found that early career setback appears to cause a performance improvement in those who persevere. The study concludes that, quote, "For those who persevere, early failure should not be taken as a negative signal, but rather the opposite, in line with Shinya Yamanaka's advice to young scientists after winning the Nobel Prize for the discovery of iPS cells. I can see any failure as a chance." End quote. So how do we do it? How do we get comfortable being uncomfortable? Well, you have to start small, but you have to start. We all have big dreams and magnificent goals, and some of us want to be more financially secure than others. Some want us to be healthier and lose weight. Others want to grow professionally. But too many people, when they get started, make one of two mistakes. You get scared of the scope and the size of the desire and never even get started. Or number two, you jump into the figurative deep end of the pool with vigor and enthusiasm, only to realize that you have never swum in your life and begin sinking, only to quit the endeavor quickly. Whatever your goal may be to have long-term success, you not only have to get started, but you need to start small. Simon Sinek says it really well when he says, "Dream big, start small, but most of all, start." Now, it may be scary to start something new, but think back to a time in medical school or residency when you were a little unsure. Well, heck, you were a lot unsure of a particular task or procedure. Do you remember that time? Now think back to the incredible feeling you had when you broke through that uncomfortable time and the success that was waiting for you on the other side. So you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, "I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you cannot do. And that's a very well-known verse from Eleanor Roosevelt. Number 2, celebrate your small wins. It is time to celebrate your small wins, friends. You cannot create a fulfilling, successful professional, personal life without it. Be intentional about this. It's important in your day-to-day success because this will propel you to another level of health and happiness. And we intuitively know this. Michael Phelps says this perfectly. I think goals should never be easy. They should force you to work even if they are uncomfortable at the time. So small wins mean different things to each of us, but recognizing them is the first and often most overlooked step toward achieving your larger goal. This small win may be sticking with your workout for 1 week or daily journaling for 90 days. Recognize this small win may not change the world, but that's the point. It's not meant to. If it puts a smile on your face and makes you mentally or makes you internally give yourself a high five, you need to celebrate that small win. Third thing, friends, is put your ego aside and become a student again. The greatest and the most successful leaders and thinkers have an insatiable appetite for learning, even if it made them uncomfortable around others. You see, many people get overly confident in their one area of expertise and forget they know little about everything else. And this is especially true in medicine, where we have become so siloed in our respective specialties. Our egos, if we allow them, will hold us back from learning more and seeking greater challenges. In his fantastic book, Ego and the Enemy, Ryan Holiday illustrates the qualities of a true student using Kirk Hammett. He's the lead guitarist for the heavy metal band Metallica. Holiday explains that after the band recruited him, Hammett quickly sought out a teacher because he wanted to improve, to become better. As Metallica grew into stardom, Hammett remained humble and continued to learn. In Holiday's book, he says that a true student is like a sponge, absorbing what goes on around him, filtering it, latching on to what he can hold. A student is self-critical and self-motivated, always trying to improve his understanding so that he can move on to the next topic, the next challenge. A real student is also his own teacher and his own critic. There is no room for ego there. And now the book continues to explain the importance of having that mindset, the perpetual student mindset. Humility is what keeps us there. Concerned we don't know enough and that we must continue to study. Ego rushes to the end, rationalizes that patience is for losers, wrongly seeing it as a weakness, and assumes we're good enough to give our talents a go in the world. Fourth thing, friends, is being uncomfortable means appreciating failure. John Maxwell is widely quoted for saying, fail early, fail often, but always fail forward. Failure hurts. Failure can cause emotional turmoil and regret. And we think of failure, we think of it in a negative light, yet it is vital for success. In fact, learning from failure is necessary for your overall wellness and for preventing things such as burnout that so many of us struggle with. Now, as physicians, we are hesitant to admit failure to others, or maybe even to our colleagues, and it's understandable, maybe. Now, throughout our academic lives, we have been wired to accept that failure is detrimental to further our careers. Our academic failures are looked at as personal failures. Rather than drawing lessons from failures, we quickly move away from failure and work harder or faster only to fail again. And this vicious and unhealthy circle ultimately leads to negativity, shame, and burnout. Now, my goal is to help you learn to grow and to thrive in medicine. And I want you to become a more successful and productive physician. I want you to achieve and surpass your personal and your professional goals. And to achieve this, we must not only be comfortable with failure, but embrace and learn from the lessons of our perceived failures. It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you have failed by default. And that's from J.K. Rowling from Harry Potter series, from the Harry Potter stardom. Be comfortable with fewer distractions, friends. While the brain in us is always seeking stimulation, you must first recognize that your mind needs to slow down, and only then can we work toward a solution. Home and work are full of distractions, and if these distractions aren't harnessed, they can derail you. As focused and hard-driving physicians, distractions and managing them well may seem like a badge of honor. In emergency medicine, our shifts are filled with distractions, be it another ambulance run, a phone call from a consultant, a question from a nurse or a patient while tending to yet another patient. The list seems endless, and we are quick to blame the system or technology for these distractions. But let's focus on where the distractions come from and how to regain control of our day. You may be able to name the top 3 sources of your distractions, but do you know the amount of time you spend on social media, email, or surfing the internet? While the iPhone has a screen time application, a more robust and accurate assessment comes from the Toggle app, Toggl app. Be comfortable with fewer distractions and the importance of solitude and self-reflection. Now, the thought of solitude excites the introvert and scares the extrovert, but you see, solitude can conjure up negative images of a lonely person, but quite the opposite is true. The intellectual, spiritual, and emotional benefits of seeking solitude cannot be overstated. Nikola Tesla is noted for saying that the mind is sharper and keener in seclusion and uninterrupted solitude. Originality thrives in seclusion, free of outside influences beating upon us to cripple the creative mind. Be alone. That is the secret of invention. Be alone. That is when ideas are born. Solitude is a place where you can unwind and just be with your thoughts. It's only here that you can disengage from people and the demands of work and at home. And finally, friends, be comfortable setting boundaries. Helping people is not about saying yes to all the people all the time. It's about saying yes to some of the people, some of the time, to some of their requests. So how do you do it? How do you say no effectively? I'm going to give you 5 ways. First thing is just to say it. Just say no. Don't offer weak and unnecessary excuses. Don't delay your response. The less that is said, the better. Number 2, be firm but polite. If the request is something you may be interested in but unable due to the current goals or projects, say so. Defer the request until a later date. This helps you prioritize your goals as well as maintain relationships that you want to preserve. Third thing is say no and reference your commitment to another person or a project that you're currently working on. In this approach, you preserve your reputation as a given and caring and goal-oriented person. Number 4, say no to the request, but not the person. Be appreciative of the request, but remember, you are not rejecting the person, just the invitation. 5, establish the preemptive no. This is one of my favorites. There are certain individuals, be it your director or your manager, who make repeated burdensome requests. And in these cases, it is best to say no even before the request comes in. Let the person know you are laser focused on other obligations and goals and that you won't be able to honor the request. Saying no is not easy, but it's extremely necessary to maintain our wellness. Now, you may feel disappointed that you are letting the person down, but remember, in our path toward wellness, you must make yourself a priority. And this isn't selfish, it is imperative. You must take that action. Now practice saying no and begin saying yes to the essential aspects of your life, your goals and your relationships. Focus on these to grow and to thrive toward wellness. So start today. Friends, I enjoy being comfortable and having the comfortable things in life, but I've learned to seek out and embrace discomfort in my life. It's been such an important habit for me, and I want to encourage you to do the same. Now, when I encounter an uncomfortable situation, I don't wait for the discomfort to pass. I actively appreciate it for what it is, an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to thrive in medicine and in my personal endeavors. So friends, until next time, be good to yourself and each other. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. And if you're not yet a subscriber, hit that bell just below so you get an alert every time I put out a show. And if you really, really enjoy this show, I ask that you do share it with 3 of your friends, because that's how we're going to get more eyeballs and ears to this show and this channel. So until next time, be good to yourself and each other. Can't wait to meet you. Bye-bye.